Hi, this story is called One Wish, and it was told to me by Liz Ware, a great Irish storyteller who's told stories all around the world. Now, Liz once told me that a good storyteller will always put their own twist on a story when they're retelling it. So for that reason, I am going to call this story The Greatest Wish. This story takes place in the west of Ireland 100 years ago, in a small little cottage out in the middle of nowhere, or as they say where I come from, out in the sticks. In this house lives a young man and woman and his parents, who are quite elderly. The young man's wife was very sad, kind of downhearted. She had tried to have a baby with her husband for 4 or 5 years now, and there was no sign of any baby. His mum, who was well into her 80s, she had lost her eyesight a few years back, and she was very, very unhappy. Every time she got up to walk around, she fell over the dad's shoes or something. And the dad always giving out about being poor and not having any gold. If only we had gold, we could have a bigger house, and then your mother wouldn't be falling over my shoes all the time and giving out. Now the young man's greatest wish was that everyone could be happy and live peacefully together. So one morning when he woke up, tired of listening to his mum and dad giving out and seeing the sad face on his poor darling wife who just longed to have a baby, he decided he would go for a walk up the country lanes and only listen to the birds singing in the trees. So off he went, looking for a little bit of peace. After about 20 minutes, he heard this rustling in the bush, and he decided to pop over and see what was making this noise, because sometimes a rabbit might have got caught, or who knows. So he climbed over the ditch and he heard it again. So he walked on a little bit, and then around a corner in the field, he came face to face with a great white deer. Now, deers are not uncommon in this part of Ireland, but this deer he stood 7 foot tall. The man looked at him and the deer looked at the man. And then the deer spoke. He said, "If you free me, I will grant you one wish." The man wasn't sure what the deer was talking about until then he noticed that his leg was all tangled up in briars and barbed wire. The man didn't know what to think. Now, he had heard a lot of stories of legends and myths in Ireland, like the banshees and the black cats, so he wasn't that surprised. But he thought, one wish is no good to me, because, let's be honest, I have 3 people at home who are unhappy. And he was thinking. The deer looked at him and he seen the man's confusion. "Go home, come back in the morning, and I will grant you one wish if you set me free." Without thinking, the man walked back down the field and got back over the ditch, and he headed home. When he got home, he told his wife and his mum and dad what had happened. Straight away, his dad was, "Oh son, oh my darling son, my favourite son." "Well, I'm your only son, Dad." Yes, I know, but please ask for gold. Gold would be our greatest wish come true." His old mother said, no, son, please. The greatest wish you could give me is my eyesight. Oh, if only I could see my darling son one more time. Oh, that would be my greatest wish." His beautiful wife put the hand on the hip, as a lot of wives do. "Darling, I am your wife. My greatest wish is to have our baby. You know what's the right thing to do." Now, the poor man, as we've said, his greatest wish was for everyone to be happy, and he didn't know what to do. So he struggled with this, and he went to bed early. He tossed and he turned, and he decided, "I'm not going to sleep. I'll go back and I'll set the deer free," because he knew he had still walked away and left the poor animal tangled up in the wire. So he set off down the dark country lane and he found the deer, and he went over the ditch, around the corner of the field, and the deer stood tall. The man untangled him. He took all of the wire and the thorns away from his leg. The deer took a couple of steps back, and the man apologized for leaving him. The deer said, "I grant you one wish." And the man looked at the deer and he said, "It's no good. I don't want one wish." The deer looked at him. The man said, "You see, I have too many problems. One wish is no good to me." So the deer stared at the man for a long time. And he said, "I'm leaving now. Before I leave, take your wish quickly." And with that, the man said, "I wish that my mother can see my beautiful wife rock our baby in a golden cradle." And the deer nodded, and he turned and he left. And the man walked back down the field, got over the ditch, headed back home. And I wonder, did he get his wish?